Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you hit that button. Today's video is an extra special video. It's a collaboration with Sherry from Canterbury Cottage. She is such a talented lady. She has a channel. It's primarily, I think, a thrift makeover channel, but boy, is she talented. She has so many wonderful and inspirational ideas on what you can do with everyday items that you find in thrift stores. Today, we are bringing you a total of 16 Valentine DIYs. So be sure to head on over to her channel after you're done watching this video to get part 2. The link to her video will be in the description box below my video, and I also will link her channel at the end of this video. All you have to do is click on that icon and it will take you straight to her channel and you'll see the video there. So we got together and decided a fun challenge would be to make Valentine DIYs that in some way include cardboard. Now, you know me, I kind of went overboard in some of them. It's almost entirely cardboard because I thought that would be fun for you all in case you don't live by a nice Dollar Tree, or for my international viewers as well who don't have access to Dollar Tree items at all. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. You'll need 3 Dollar Tree votive candles, some cardboard hearts, some Spanish moss, and this material that I found on Amazon, but you can use any kind of material you want, or you can even use craft paper if you'd prefer. I found these 4x4 pieces of fabric on Amazon. I thought they were perfect for Valentine's Day projects, and normally I would say there's a link in my description box, but I actually bought the last one, but there were other choices out there. I think this was a package of like 50 for about $7, and I thought that was a good deal. And they may restock, but I was really hesitant to put the link down below because, you know, there's nothing there, so I didn't think that would be very nice. But you definitely can find little pieces of fabric like this on Amazon all over the place. So I started off using that aerosol spray glue that I talked about in the last Shop With Me video. That was fantastic. It is a little bit more watery than Mod Podge and much easier to work with. As you can see, I can lift the heart up, I can put it back down. You'll see later here where it's not quite high enough on the heart. I want the edges of my heart to be covered, and so I just slide the material up really easy, and I really liked it for this kind of application. Now here you see me spraying the edges of the cloth, and I would recommend you skip that part. My goal was to seal the two pieces of fabric together because you don't want to see the edges. I am doing both sides of the cardboard hearts, but when it dried and I cut and trimmed around, it ended up kind of coming apart in places anyway, and I still had to go around, you know, with hot glue like you do kind of when we make pillows with DIYs and we use hot glue. I still ended up doing that anyway, so save your glue if you buy this and just use it just to apply the material onto the cardboard. Once they're all dry, I'm just kind of grouping them together in the groups that I like. And I'm putting, of course, my favorite prints on the front. The backs will be covered, and they are very pretty. They're just not my favorite prints. So I'm doing that so that they face forward. And you can see what I'm talking about right here. Even though I glued these together, some of them stuck together, but some of them didn't, and I did end up having to go around just like this with hot glue and squeeze them together. No big deal. It made a perfect little seam on the edge of your heart. And when working with cardboard, that's a really important part, in my opinion, is covering those edges, because once you do that, no one can tell that you're working with cardboard and the craft looks very expensive. And now I'm just going to put a small dot of hot glue and stack each one of these hearts on top of each other. One of my favorite things to do with the Dollar Tree mop, which I actually prefer over yarn because it does have more of a primitive look and a rustic look. That's just kind of my style. I like it to kind of look a little bit more rough around the edges. I love to use these for bows and add it into bows, especially for Valentine decor. I don't know why. I did it last year and it came up so pretty, and I kind of do it even during Easter. I just love the yarn well, this kind of yarn because it's kind of furry and fuzzy. You know, it actually would be pretty for Christmas too because it's kind of got that furry look. It kind of goes with like a winter theme or a Christmas theme as well. But I make little bows, first putting the yarn down, but I want to put a pearl in the middle. So to avoid the bulk, I'm using the Dollar Tree lace ribbon now, and you can see how I'm going about making this bow. I did not include this kind of bow in my recent bow video, but this is a great way to keep your bows flat and pretty so you can add the middle. Next, we're going to take and add a little bit of the burnt umber paint into a spray bottle, also from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to give it a good shake, and I'm going to spray these to kind of antique them and make them look older. Now, this isn't for everyone. You can skip this part if you want to. Again, it's my style, and I just love to do that. I don't really want the material to look totally brand new. I like it to look a little antiqued. Now you can also soak your fabric in tea or coffee or even watered down brown paint to get the same effect. I go for the spray bottle, one, because it's super fast and easy, and two, it gives an uneven result, which is more natural looking. If something is going to age and get kind of dirty, it doesn't usually do it all over. It kind of does it in sections and on the edges. So, you know, that kind of thing. And I'll tell you, the squirt bottle is a great fast way. If you ever make coffee filter roses or anything like that, I made 200 of those once for a wedding. I laid them down on a tarp in my garage and put the watered down paint in a huge spray bottle, and it worked perfectly. So great fast way to get color onto absorbent crafts. So I put a little hot glue inside the votive to hold the Spanish moss down. Then I put some glue on top of that to hold the heart in place so it stands up straight. And I did this for all three, and I think that this project came up so beautiful. It came out exactly the way I was envisioning it. For this next DIY, you're going to need some cardboard, of course, and a tray from the Dollar Tree or anywhere you'd like to get it, and some cardboard hearts or a pattern for a cardboard heart. I start off by giving this one coat of my homemade chalk paint. You can find that video down below in my description box if you'd like to check it out. I have part 1 and part 2, so lots of choices on how to make your chalk paint, and I think it works as good or better than the one you buy. It's a lot of fun to make, and you save a lot of money. So now I cut out 3 hearts, and I purposely have been saving this cardboard, I kid you not, since my Christmas deliveries, because this cardboard had that like serrated look, kind of like galvanized metal, that bumpy look. For my crafts for this video, I did want that look because when I was in Hobby Lobby the other day checking out some of the Valentine Day decor, I noticed that the metal ones had that same look just like cardboard, and I thought, oh, I could get that look with cardboard. I just have to make sure I pay attention when I get those pieces that have the little lines and bumps on. So I start off painting those hearts with the white chalk paint, and then I use a Dollar Tree doily, but I'm only using parts of it just to add some texture and design to the front of the hearts. Now I'm measuring out some craft sticks, and we're going to go ahead and fill in the center of that tray with the craft sticks. If you use medium-sized craft sticks, you will have to cut a little tiny piece to fit in at the bottom. If you're using a Dollar Tree tray, one of these trays, we don't get quite a perfect fit with them side by side, but it comes out really nice anyway. And now I'm using a baby wipe and some of the burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel, and just using it as a stain to stain that wood and also to antique these hearts. Now my goal here is to bring out the designs of the lace so you can kind of see it. So I put a little bit of paint on top and then use the wet baby wipe to rub it off. And then I'm going to lightly use the baby wipe also to brush over those lines to make sure we bring out those serrated lines. course, now I'm taking the same burnt umber and just going around the edges of the tray. Next, I use this Dollar Tree ribbon and I carefully cut it down the center to make it a lot thinner because I'm going to be using it to cover the edges of these hearts. I made a bow out of this soft velvet pink ribbon that I found on clearance at Walmart. It was 75% off. It was a Christmas ribbon. I got it for about 78 cents. And I'm going to glue the Dollar Tree lace bow on top of it. Lastly, I glue all 3 of these hearts on top of the tray. And I think this piece would be really pretty as an end piece on a mantle, or even a centerpiece, or on a shelf in a corner. Or you could put a hanger on the back of it and use it on the wall, but I think it came up so pretty. I'm using a Dollar Tree scarf for this. You can use anything you want. And I'm going to take this piece of cardboard and cut it to this shape right here. Next, I will be cutting this Dollar Tree scarf down the middle, and I'm going to be wrapping it around the cardboard. Now, as I wrap, I'm going to be really careful to tuck in any of the seams that are fraying or unfinished. I kind of just tuck them under and like hem them and then pull it tight enough to hold it down, and it works perfect. And this is what we have so far. Now that's a little bit bright for my decor. I wanted to soften it up and veil it a little bit. And it occurred to me that I found some tulle on my last shop with me video. Again, if you watch the video, I found both this scarf and the tulle at that Dollar Tree by the beach. And I decided the tulle would be a perfect veiling piece to soften up the pink and make it look softer. So I go ahead and wrap the whole heart up with tulle. And now I'm making a messy bow out of different ribbons. If you want to see how to make a messy bow, check out my video on 10 bow hacks. It goes over every single bow I make in every video in detail, so you can make them fast and easy, and I give you nice tips and tricks along the way. And I just take that messy bow, glue it up in the left hand corner, and I'm using these little foam hearts. They're so cute. I found them at Walmart and they were only, I think, $1, even though they're not on sale, they were only $1. And I just thought it kind of changed it up a little bit from the Dollar Tree stuff. And then I take some of my white chalk paint and cover these hearts up just to soften them because they're a little bit brighter than the look I'm going for this year. I kind of like my Valentine Day decor to be soft. And then I'm using the burnt umber to antique and distress them and make them look older. I glue one heart in the center of my bow. And now I'm going to take the Dollar Tree twine and glue it on each one of these hearts. Now this is actually the nautical rope just pulled apart into many, many pieces because the thin twine has been sold out at my Dollar Trees for a while. So just so you know, you can do that with the nautical rope. It comes apart really, really down to like small thin threads. So that's kind of a neat thing. And I want these to look like they're hanging from the heart. Now, because they're foam, they're too light. So in order to hold them in place, I'm just going to use a dot of hot glue to glue them on the side of the heart. Using some of the black ribbon, I go ahead and glue it on the back for a hanger. I love pink and black together. I think that looks awesome. And I decide that my messy bow is a little bit too big, so I'm just trimming it down. And I also decide that the hearts need a little something in the middle, so I add some of the Dollar Tree pearls. And that's it. We're all done. For this next DIY, you're going to need a frame of some kind, a free printable that I designed, some paper of your choice, and some of the Dollar Tree hearts. I found this at Ross on clearance for $2.49, and I'm just going to remove those two items off of the frame. Now I have some sanding to do, so I'm going to sand it nice and smooth. I'm going to cut out my image again. I designed this image using a combination of many images online and made my own on canva.com. It's a great place to do that, and that will be available for you under free printables down below in my description box below my video, along with other free printables from today's video. And I'm using some Mod Podge. I'm just brushing it on the front, and I'm going to press this down. Now, I did print this up on cardstock because I wanted it to be nice and hardy, and I definitely didn't want any bumps or lumps on this piece. Once it's dried, I'm using a very sharp utility knife just to cut off most of the excess. If you don't have a sharp knife, don't do that because you might tear it. And then to finish it off, I'm using sandpaper just to make sure my edges are nice and clean. And here's a little nice trick I thought up while I was crafting and was excited to share with y'all. I'm not a big fan of the felt hearts. I just don't think they look very expensive and classy. And what you can do, because the sides where the sticker is so sticky, is that you can stick the sticky side down on whatever craft paper or fabric or whatever you want, and then cut them out and glue them on the opposite side, and you'll end up with a much more expensive looking, finely tuned to your style, little bit of garnish for your other craft and DIY projects. So that was fun. Now I cut out 6 of those all together because I also cut out small cardboard hearts and I wanted both sides of them to be covered. And now I'm using the other half of the Dollar Tree lace ribbon that I had cut down the center to cover the edges of these hearts. And you'll notice I'm really taking my time and going slow. That's one of the tricks when you're working with cardboard, is to make sure that you really cover everything. Now, earlier in the video when I had glued the fabric together, some of the top parts came apart, or I didn't bother doing the hot glue because I knew I'm going to put them on top of the mantle. You're never actually going to see the top of them, and I have ribbon as well on top of the heart, so you can see past that. I mean, you actually have to take them down and hold them and look, and most people aren't going to do that. But usually I'm a big, I advocate to cover the edges of the cardboard really well so you have nice clean seams, because it makes it look, it really takes your craft up a notch, and people don't know it's cardboard. It could be wood, it could be ceramic, and it just makes it look nice and finished. So here's my thing I'm doing again with the bow to make it nice and flat. I'm not going to tie a knot. I'm using a little bit of extra burlap that I had left over from my wine bag from Christmas, and I'm going to glue it down in the center and then just pull it over to the side to make that loop. I'm showing you a lot slower in this DIY so you can see what I did, and then do another dot of glue and do the same thing on the other side, and it will give me a nice flatter bow that I can put the pearls on top of. And then I take those little hearts and I cascade them down the side of my image. Now I also replaced the little paper clipboard metal piece at the top there. I made this with the idea thinking it would hold the picture of your loved one. You can hang anything there you want, of course, but I'm not going to stage it that way at the end because I do want you to see the craft in its completed state, but that is what it's kind of for. And lastly, I am adding some of the Dollar Tree lace on the top and the bottom to give it a nice romantic touch. And we're all done. And I love the way that this one came out. So this one I had a lot of fun with. I cut all of these hearts out. I'm using some Dollar Tree wrapping paper, some Dollar Tree doilies, some of the fabric, and some of these printables I found online. Again, everything will be down below in my description box. They are free printables. So for this, I am using the glue stick from the Dollar Tree. You can use any glue stick you want, but I am working with wrapping paper, and wrapping paper does have a tendency to crinkle a lot. So you really want to go with your driest choice of glue to avoid any kind of buckling or wrinkling in your final results. So I'm just pressing it down now, and I'm also going to press sideways to make sure those little serrated lines show, because this is actually kind of a dupe that I saw in Hobby Lobby that was metal, but it was flowered. It was like printed metal that had prints on it, and I thought it was so pretty, and they had it out for Valentine's Day, and I thought, you know, I could make something similar and I could do it with this cardboard. So now we're just cutting around the edges here. We're going to do those little slits, and we're going to cover the edge of the cardboard. And this is what it looks like when you're all done. You should see those lines nicely. Now I found this wrapping paper, both rolls, in the wedding section of the Dollar Tree, and they're just, I thought, perfect for love and romance and soft Valentine's Day decor. And the other prints I just printed up on my printer using regular old printer paper. And of course, here comes the doily. Now for this one, you don't need to cover the cardboard at all. It looks like wood underneath, and it provides perfect dimension so that you can actually see the lace design really pretty. And I'm going to cover all of the hearts, and then I'm going to go ahead and situate them and hot glue them down in the position that I want. I'm kind of making like a heart collage, I guess. And now I'm adding some ribbon, and you know, it's lace ribbon, and then a nice bow that I saved for this craft. I actually made that bow in my bow video, my bow hack video, and I wanted to save it for the Valentine's Day craft. And I'm adding some nice little Dollar Tree flowers. And then lastly, I decide that my lace doily heart is a little bit too plain in the center. I mean, you can leave it if you want to, but I just felt like, why not? Just add a little bit more texture, a little bit more design. So we're doing the trick again with the felt heart, and we're doing it with fabric this time. And we're going to cut it out and put it on the middle of the lace doily. Ross is a great place to find stuff on clearance when you go there. This was the same price as the Dollar Tree, but twice as long as the pieces that they sell. So I just broke off the words, cut it in half, and it made a perfect stand for this craft. And I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to hold the front in place. Now, I don't have any towering blocks at any of my Dollar Trees. They are sold out and I can't find them, so I might end up ordering those online. But in the meantime, I cut a bunch of craft sticks and glued them together so that they would work the same way for the same purpose. I just want to give a little bit of a brace in the back of this project so it holds it up. Added some of those velvet bows, and we're all done. For this DIY, you'll just need pretty much cardboard, and I used some fabric and some leftover doilies and just stuff that I had. It's pretty much up to you how you want to garnish this, but this is my big challenge DIY. I really wanted to put myself up to the challenge to make the DIY completely out of cardboard and make a high-end, nice, classy, expensive looking DIY like craft. You know, I didn't want it to look cheap. So for those of you that have been following my channel, I did something similar when I showed you how to make a faux farmhouse wood sign about 2 years ago. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago now. And we're doing kind of the same principle here, but we're doing a window. Now I'm going to cut out 2 of those because what I do next is a wetter process, and you don't want your cardboard to buckle. Now preferably you should do 3, especially if you're going to do like a big window or a big frame, that kind of thing. And you glue them together, and you know, this is what creates a little bit of a brace for your cardboard. You can also put paint sticks on the back of the DIY to stop it from buckling as well. You just need some kind of brace on the back of your cardboard so that when you apply the next step, it doesn't curl or buckle. So here's the Dollar Tree lightweight spackling, which I tried to work with initially, and I've never really worked with lightweight spackling. I didn't realize that it's really kind of fluffy and almost crumbly. So I was panicking a little bit, and as you can see, I decided to remove it. And the way I counter this is I add some of the chalk paint in there. You can add any paint. You can add latex paint, just any paint. I even added a little bit of water too, but this makes it behave more like the spackling I'm used to, or joint compound. In other countries, you might call it polyfilla or a multi-purpose filler. It's meant to fill nail holes. That's what we're covering this cardboard with, and we're doing it in a way that you will literally not be able to tell it's cardboard at all. It will have texture. The top of the cardboard along the edges will be covered. Everything will be covered. You'll see me doing it right here. It's really quite amazing, and you can make anything you want, and you can make it look nice and expensive like it came from a store. Once it was kind of dry, I just pressed my hands down on it to kind of flatten everything because I want it to look like an old window. So here's the fabric again from Amazon, and here's that multi-purpose spray glue that I talked about and showed in the earlier part of this video. Going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to spray my cardboard heart down and put the fabric on top of it. I made a total of 3 hearts, and I did this while my window was drying. Now you can put your window in front of a fan to speed things up, or you can just let it air dry. While my hearts are drying, I go back to the frame and I give it a nice soft dry brush of gray paint from Apple Barrel. It doesn't matter what brand, any gray paint will work, but I'm just distressing it to make it look nice and old and weathered. I also decide that I want the doily in there, you guys. I love the doilies. So I cut out a heart that's a little bit bigger than the 3 hearts that had the fabric glued on it, and I go ahead and cover that with one of the Dollar Tree lace doilies. Once the fabric is dry, I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with the paper. I'm putting little slits around the edges. For those of you that sew, you know this trick. It just makes it a little bit easier to bend around those curves and those edges without so many wrinkles. I'm going to take one of my fabric hearts and glue it in the middle of the doily heart. So I want to check out and see what the lace ribbon looks like, and I decide to use that. So I'm going to put 3 of the Dollar Tree lace bows down on the hearts and then position them on top of my window and then glue them in place. I thought it would be fun to add some chicken wire behind this window as well for a different look if you wanted to. Even the Dollar Tree white wastebasket, that's that kind of crisscross kind, would look pretty behind this, but either way, it came up so beautiful. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to head on over to Sherry's channel for part 2 of today's Valentine Day series. And as always, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.